Hey there, it's Craig from Unleashed Education here, and you're watching another Edit My Photo. In these videos, we get to edit one of your RAW files, and today I'm going to be working on this image of Kim's. This was taken at the recent Barkelona workshop in Spain, and it's an absolutely gorgeous image with a beautiful sense of warmth to it. I love that warm light coming through the window and just reflecting all around these gorgeous warm rocks in the room. So this edit I'm going to keep really simple. I think there's just a couple of things that we can do to improve it. The first thing is that we can do a little bit of dodging and burning to give us a real good sense of where we want to direct the eye in the image. Then I will be improving the composition with a little bit of a crop, and there's quite a bit of noise to deal with in this too, so I'll be using Topaz to do some noise reduction. And that's pretty much it really. As always, if you would like, you can fast track through this video using the time codes below, or stay with me and watch it from start to finish. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And if you like this kind of editing tutorial and you want more pet photography, shooting and editing tips and tricks, please subscribe to the channel. Alright, so here I am in Lightroom with Kim's image. This shot is really gorgeous. I recognize this place. I've been here myself. It's one of the rooms at the Barkelona house, and I wish I was there this year, but I wasn't, unfortunately. So thanks for sending this in, Kim, because I can feel like I'm editing new Spanish images without actually having gone. A couple of things really with this. The light here through the window is really beautiful and soft on the dog, and just gives you this really warm bounce around of light on the stone in the background. And really there's not much I want to do to change that except just deal with a bit of painting with light and a bit of noise reduction. So shot at 3200 ISO at 1.8, so at that kind of ISO we've definitely got some noise to deal with. I don't think there's going to be anything, there is a bit of detail in through the window there, so I might actually just bring some of that back too. But I just really like the warmth, and though technically, yes, it's blown out as it is, and that's a bit of a no-no, actually it really adds to the feel of it, whereas if I bring that down, you don't get that same warmth through there. So I will bring it back a little bit, but not all the way. And then take it into Photoshop and just do some dodging and burning, remove this leash that's hanging over there, and just a few minor enhancements, and that's all it needs. So let's make a start. Just the tiniest lift in shadows, just a little drop in highlights, and maybe giving it some contrast, doing the opposite there. And I don't think I really need to do anything else. I think if I add saturation and vibrance, it's not necessary. That's all I want to do with my global adjustments. Let's go to the masks now. Let's do it with a linear gradient and bring that over. Going to subtract the subject, which worked quite nicely. And now I'll also subtract the brush. I'll turn on auto masking here, and I want to just take it off of the door frames really. I'll turn auto mask off now and just take it off of the rest of the image here. So then let's take the exposure down, bring those highlights down a little bit as well. But because I'm reducing this exposure and the highlights, it's cooling off a little bit, and this, like I said, it's really nice and warm. So actually I'm going to add some warmth in the white balance now as well, and maybe even a little bit of magenta too. Yeah, I think probably about there is good. And that's it. Now all I want to do is just do some edits in Photoshop. So let's take it over. I'll get rid of this leash first, so I'll duplicate this layer with Command and J. Let's zoom in nice and close, and we've got the patch tool selected there, so let's select that. Just taking a bit of this kind of shagginess from here and bringing it up, because I'm just struggling a little bit to rebuild that edge there. So let's use that extra bit of hair that we've got to do that. Mask it now and brush those edges off. Okay. Alright, so leash gone, window sorted. Let's just get rid of this wee bit here, that just little catch of light grabs my attention there. Alright, and then really it's just the dodging and burning, which I mentioned. So I'll make a new empty layer, Shift and delete to bring up the fill box. Change that to 50% grey. OK. Now I'll change my layer blending mode to soft light, and that is going to allow me now to dodge and burn on this layer with the brush. So brush tool selected, reset the colours. Black is going to burn, white is going to dodge, and you want a really low opacity when you're doing this, so way under 10%. Usually I'm at between 4 and 6% roughly when I'm doing this. And then you can build your strokes up to get the effect that you're after. So I just want to take the edge off of the brightness of that part of highlight on the dog there, but I don't want to even it out. I still want that to be a highlight. I just want a little bit more detail in there. And then for other burning, really you're just working with what's already here in the image. So darkening off anything that's dark and then lightening up anything that's light. So let's take that across the end of the nose and through the mouth there. Underneath, around the back, probably down the back of the neck there as well. So again, thinking about your light source here is the window. The directional light is coming through and hitting the dog on the top of the head, on the front here, and then as you go back it's naturally getting darker. So we can darken those areas all off, and then we can press X to switch it, and now we can pull out a few of the highlights as well. So let's grab the highlights on the ears there that are just catching the sun. Some of those just coming down through here, and then just bringing up some of the lightness on the face too. I'll also lighten up the edge of the eye here, and the edge of the nose can get a bit more light than the rest of it as well. So this contouring is quite subtle, but it really does help you focus your attention in specific areas of the image. So if I turn this off now and back on, it really helps us bring our eye up to the face. Now I think this highlight here is still a little bit, so let's bring it down some more. Might even increase the opacity a little bit there. Now you can actually do this in, the other parts of the image as well, not just the dog. So if you want to, for example, just really bring out some texture and detail in the curtains, we can run that along those highlight lines there. then darken down on the shadows. We can run it on these patterns in the chairs, so we can lighten up these kind of diamond shapes that we've got happening in the texture of the fabric, bringing out a bit more of that kind of reddish colour. Just really on areas of the image where you want to draw attention to. Same with the chess pieces. If you really want to spend more time doing things like this, we can, where am I? I'm on a highlight. So we can lighten up the light side of those pieces and darken down the dark side, really kind of emphasize the light that's present within the scene. So small, subtle differences, but they do build up to quite a nice effect in the result. I think really the only other thing that I want to do here in Photoshop is just run a eye enhancement. So my glitter eyes action, let's just add some sparkle. So I was finished, but I've just noticed two things that I need to remove that are a little bit distracting before we do the final step of the noise reduction. So Command and J. Now I've just noticed on his little lip there. So I'll duplicate the layer, just get rid of that with the patch tool. Little lip thing happening, bit of clumpy hair or something like that. And then I also want to get rid of this loop from the collar. So that's all of the distractions definitely gone now. And in my final step in Photoshop, I'll make some adjustments on the noise with Topaz. So I have a plugin here, Filter, Topaz, Denoise. Denoise is awesome. It works amazingly well. You can have some nice sharpness added as well as reducing the noise in the results that you get from this. And with this comparison view, I can see which ones are better. I generally don't change any of the settings here because it either does a really great job or I can control the amount of noise reduction with the layer opacity when I've picked which works best. So low light's looking pretty decent. Clear's got a little bit of extra sharpness in it, I think. And severe noise, I think, is probably smoothing out a little bit too much. So let's change this low light here to standard and see what that's like too. I like standard best. I've got some good sharpness coming through into the fur and the eyes are still nice and sharp and I'm not really seeing much noise there at all. So let's apply standard. Let's turn that off so you can see how well it's done at the noise reduction. Now, if I want to play with masks here, I can. So if I only wanted the noise on the background and not the dog, I can mask that. I can do any kind of masking I like. And also, as I said, you can just use the layer opacity to reduce the amount of noise reduction that you've got on this layer. I am definitely of the opinion that some noise is good, some texture. I don't like color noise, that's ugly, but some grain texture is always quite nice in an image, I think. Makes it a little bit more kind of feely and authentic. So I'll pull that back a little bit and that's it. We're done. No more work to do here in Photoshop. So let's save that and apply some finishing touches in Lightroom. I've been looking at this the whole time, thinking about the composition, and I'm wondering actually if a 16:9 composition would look good with this. I'm conflicted because I like this painting up in the corner, but let's give it a go and see. I do quite like how cinematic that makes it feel, and I think with some masks that's probably going to work quite nicely. So let's apply a couple of last masks with a linear gradient in at the back, just to darken down that side a little bit. Again, thinking about the light fall off from window light, we can definitely get away with that. And then a radial gradient. Let's really follow the shape of the dog here. Invert that. And again, we can darken down just to give a little bit of a vignette. One more radial gradient. I'll subtract the subject and just bring that exposure up just a teeny tiny bit. I might actually even make it a bit longer. And that's it. So let's check our before and afters. So this was a fairly simple and straightforward edit. It was a really beautiful in-camera exposure, and I just really wanted to enhance the light that was coming through the window and give this image a really lovely warm feel. I really love the almost monochromatic feel of it. The color toning is really lovely. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this one. I've really enjoyed editing this. Thanks for submitting it, Kim. Now I feel like I've been to Spain this year when I should have been to Spain anyway. And I'll see you all again for my next Edit My Photo Winners Edit real soon.